Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people rarely need to prove themselves? They don't beg for respect. They don't over-explain. They don't rush to respond. They simply remove their energy quietly. And when they do, something shifts. Conversations change. People chase. The dynamic is completely transformed. What if you started doing that? What if you stopped showing up for everyone, all the time? What if you stopped reacting instantly, explaining endlessly, giving constantly? That's when everything begins to change. That's when you begin to change. The illusion of constant presence. From a young age, we're trained to be emotionally available. To say yes. To please. To show up no matter what. We're taught that love is something we earn by being helpful, agreeable, useful. But here's the truth no one tells you. Being endlessly available doesn't make you loved. It makes you used. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He called it the persona, the social mask we wear to be accepted. And behind that mask? Often there's exhaustion, resentment, and a subtle, ongoing self-abandonment. You start answering messages that deplete you. You keep friendships that drain you. You give pieces of yourself just to maintain a fragile peace. But what's left of you after all that? Withdrawal is power. The moment you stop being accessible, the roles reverse. Suddenly, the people who took your presence for granted begin to notice your absence. Not because they care deeply about you, but because their control is slipping. They were counting on your emotional reflexes, your quick replies, your need to fix things, your predictability. So when you don't react, when you don't explain, when you just stop engaging, it's unsettling for them. And that is exactly the beginning of your transformation. The high cost of reaction. Carl Jung spoke about psychic energy, the finite emotional and mental fuel that we all carry. And most people waste it. Every unnecessary argument, every knee-jerk response, every effort to justify yourself, it's a leak in your energy system. You're not weak. You're just leaking strength into things that don't feed you. And here's what happens to someone who's emotionally depleted. They become easier to manipulate, easier to control, easier to discard. When you respond to every provocation, you surrender your power. But when you choose stillness, you take it back. The shift from reactor to creator. Most of us live on emotional autopilot. We react, not from power, but from programming. But when you interrupt that pattern, when you say, "Not this time," you move from being a reactor to a creator. You stop being a mirror for others' projections. You stop playing the role they wrote for you. You stop living as an extension of someone else's story and start writing your own. And yes, that can be deeply uncomfortable. You might be called cold, selfish, distant. But the truth is, you're finally prioritizing your own energy. And your peace has a price. Not everyone will be willing to pay it. And let's be honest, aren't you tired? Tired of being the one who always answers the phone, even when your soul is screaming for silence? Tired of pouring from a cup that no one ever bothers to refill? Tired of being everyone's emotional crutch while no one ever asks how you're doing? You bend, twist, shrink just to be accepted. But the love you're trying so hard to earn? It was conditional from the beginning. They liked your compliance, not your truth. And every time you said yes when you wanted to say no, you told yourself, maybe this will be the time they finally see me. But they didn't. And they won't. Because people don't notice the light they never had to fight for. You have given so much that you've started to forget what it feels like to be held, not just needed. To be respected, not just used. To be seen, not just seen as useful. And now, finally, something inside you is snapping, not in weakness, but in power. The part of you that kept sacrificing yourself for scraps of attention is dying. And in its place, a new version of you is being born. One who is no longer available for emotional crumbs. One who is ready to say, I am not here to be convenient. I am here to be whole. Strategic silence. There is a kind of silence that is more powerful than any argument. It's not passive. It's not avoidance. It's a deliberate act of protection. When you stop talking just to fill space, you start seeing. You notice patterns. You spot manipulations. You become lucid, clear-headed in a way you've never been before. Silence becomes your armor. It's not that you've stopped caring, it's that you've started choosing where your energy goes. And that makes people nervous, because they can't use what they can't predict. When you say no without guilt, there's a moment, maybe subtle, maybe loud, when you say no without guilt for the first time. You don't explain. You don't justify. You don't soften it. You simply don't give what you don't want to give. And suddenly the mask begins to crack. The people who only loved your availability start disappearing. The ones who thrived on your yes start turning cold. Let them. You're not losing people. You're losing roles. You're not pushing others away. You're reclaiming yourself. Carl Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole, no longer fragmented by the world's demands. The discomfort of being free. Make no mistake, freedom isn't always comfortable. When you pull away, you might feel misunderstood, judged, lonely. But this discomfort is sacred. It means you're no longer feeding your energy to empty spaces. It means your soul is detoxing. You're no longer addicted to approval. You're learning to sit with yourself and finding that your own company is enough. And from this inner stillness, real confidence grows. Confidence not built on validation, but on self-respect. Emotional sovereignty. Being consciously unavailable isn't about being rude or indifferent. It's about being sovereign. You choose when and how you show up. You respond when it feels aligned, not when someone demands it. And in that space between stimulus and response lies your power. This is the power Jung spoke of. The kind that emerges not from dominance, but from deep self-ownership. People may not understand this, but your life is not a stage for others' comfort. It's a sacred space, and only those who honor it should be allowed in. So what really happens when you stop being available? You stop being a tool. You stop being a mirror. You stop being the predictable, always there, always giving version of yourself. And you become a mystery again. A sovereign presence. A self-respecting, boundary-honoring force. Carl Jung once said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Your availability was part of your programming. Your withdrawal? That's your awakening. If this message speaks to you, if you felt the exhaustion of always being on, this is your sign to choose peace. Not because you're giving up on others, but because you're finally choosing yourself. Let me know in the comments, are you ready to be misunderstood in order to be free? And if you are, drop the words, "I choose my peace." Because that's where it all begins. If you found value here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content rooted in depth, awareness, and inner power. Until next time, protect your energy. And remember, when you stop being available, everything changes.